Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: what hobby does not get more expensive the more you dive into it? Collecting buckets. I have 7 buckets. The 4th one is also dark blue. That really depends on how long your bucket list is. I think I'd rather get rickrolled than read that again. Chess. Easy to learn, difficult to master. Resources to learn are freely available on the internet, and it is gaining quite a bit of popularity on streaming websites over the last few months. Edit: if someone new or any beginner want to learn chess, I would love to teach. Feel free to DM. Also, if you are really interested, please head over to /r/chess. Edit 2: my inbox is inundated with replies, and it makes me really happy that a simple comment made so many people interested in chess. If you need any help, please include your chess.com or lichess.org ID or both. Register if new, so that it will be easier to communicate. Edit 3: going to bed. Will reply in a few hours. Keep up the chess hype everyone, and also the cheese hype. Loads of people misreading the first word lol. Hikaru guide us. Edit: since /r/aim is leaking, I'm talking about Hikaru Nakamura, an American chess prodigy who holds the title of Grandmaster and has spearheaded chess's massive surge in popularity on Twitch. I tend to be guided by Charlie, the second coming of Jesus himself. Wildcrafting. That's pretty much the entire point. Note: wildcrafting should be practiced mindfully, with sustainability in mind. Take only what you need, leave enough for the plants and animals to live well and reproduce. Abundance is there, but only if we don't harm it. Well, now I need to know more. Basically, the skill of identifying and utilizing wild plants for things like food, medicine and other utilities. The point is generally to use local plants and things you already have available as much as possible. You can get pretty far with some really good Googling, joining some groups. Instagram and Facebook both have some pretty active communities, and nothing more. I picked it about 2 years ago, and I think the only thing I invested in was a pair of $10 gardening gloves. Magnet fishing. All you need is a strong magnet and some rope really, and maybe a few other things like gloves. Might even find something valuable one day if you're exceedingly lucky. Today I learned of a new hobby. Sounds fun. It's tons of fun. 99% of the stuff you'll find is just junk, lots of nails and fishing hooks and whatnot, but it helps keep the river clean and gives you something to do on a nice day. Writing. It may even happen that by diving into it you could earn something. Writing. It takes a certain amount of conscious effort to keep prices down though. 1. Knowing that you don't need a fancy computer to run a word processor. You do not need a Mac when a Chromebook or lower-end PC will suffice. Nowadays, a Bluetooth keyboard for your smartphone will also work. 2. Knowing that Google Docs and OpenOffice are free, and that you don't need to shell out money for Ms. Word or Scrivener. 3. Knowing that you do not need to pay for illustrations unless you're ready to sell to a publisher. 4. Knowing the difference between actual publishing and vanity bullshit. 5. Knowing that you need neither the best keyboard nor the best chair to write. 6. Not spending money on writing-related chart keys. 7. Knowing that you do not need to pay for feedback. The internet will gladly give it for free. 8. Realizing that if your story is compelling enough, you don't actually need coffee. I agree with all of these except #7. Most free internet feedback is awful and unhelpful. Paid feedback is worth the cost. Edit: #7, not #8, which I initially wrote accidentally. Cross-stitch / embroidery. It's fairly cheap in general, but once you have a few sets in, you have a wide variety of colors to do your own. Etta, Woosh. Thanks for the silver. My first. Cross-stitch / embroidery. It's fairly cheap in general, but once you have a few sets in, you have a wide variety of colors to do your own. If you think you've got the passion, then embroider, fix and fashion. For there's really nothing finer than a needlepoint designer. Take a moment. Take a minute. Take a spool of thread and spin it. Take a work of art to relish. Make a pattern to embellish. See, I say it in confession that it's simply my obsession. For there's something pretty bitchy 'bout an afternoon of stitchy. Came here to say this. You can make embroidery expensive if you want, but if you don't it can be super cheap forever. I mean, DMC floss is what, 75 cents per skein? From DMC it's 77. At Michael's and Joann in my area it's $56, but you can usually use a coupon to drop the price to $44-ish. Oddly enough, lace making. Depending on the style of lace you're doing, the initial cost of tools can be fairly steep, or super cheap. Some styles require a needle. Just a needle. But once you've got the equipment, you're only ever required to buy thread and maybe pins or paper. Okay, pattern books, but if you're even a little bit creative, you've got that covered. Source, used to make lace. Over the course of 15 years, I spent maybe $200. Not $200 a year, $200 spread over 15 years. And most of that was because I wanted specialty threads, like hand-spun linen, etc. And if you let some historical reenactment groups know you actually enjoy making lace, you can make a fair bit of money off of it. Handmade, historically accurate lace is quite pricey, and 99.9% of that cost is in labor. The SCA is where I got started. Eventually left the SCA, but didn't leave lasses until my health just wouldn't allow it anymore. I did once make a arts and sciences judge scream in the midst of a competition, though, lol. One of the upsides of lasses is how strong it is, compared to some of the others. I was talking to a friend about this, and, to prove my point, picked up a 3x2 foot panel of lace, my work, twisted it up like I was going to towel snap somebody's butt, and then jerked on the ends as hard as I could. Judge screamed in horror, thinking I'd destroyed a year's worth of work. It didn't destroy it. I just unrolled it, smoothed it out, and laid it back onto the table. No fuss, no muss. It's one of my favorite stories, lol. Programming. You already have a computer, tablet, 3DS etc, and if you need a dedicated device, a Raspberry Pi 4 is $100. Most tools are free. Open source tools are free forever. Internet is full of tutorials and examples. YouTube has a lot of courses in any field you like. Programming for fun has a competitive side too. I came here to say the same. You can make hundreds of programs without paying a dime. Then you can make hundreds of programs with being paid some dimes. Smithing. It's always just as expensive. And nothing beats the feeling you get when you finish your first knife and cut something with it. Learning to mirror sharpen a knife on whetstones like the ancient Japanese masters, $300. Getting your hand stitched shut after touching the blade and losing a pint of blood, priceless. Stick collecting. No joke. It sounds dumb at first, but once you get a few solid sticks, you'll start to love it. You should see my arsenal. Alright dude, you can't tease us like this, show us your stick collection. Plot twist, Op is actually a golden retriever. Sticks or it didn't happen. Are you the kid from my summer camp years and years ago? He was the oddest kid and would spend all day collecting sticks on our various field trips. I had to haggle with bus drivers to let the kid bring all of his sticks onto the bus. I asked his mom about it once and she said they had over 100 plus sticks in their backyard. He had pretty bad anxiety and for whatever reason it calmed down. He was honestly a great kid. Always wondered what happened to him. Cheaper than Adderall or Trazado. He reached his final form after collecting all the sticks he needed to make his treat mech suit. Geocaching. When I was a kid my family loved to geocache and eventually we set one up near our house. An office worker wrote us a long ballad about how excited he was to see a new cache and how he rushed out, found and signed it, and made it back in less than an hour just in time for his meeting. It was so sweet and memorable. Geocaching is such a great hobby. 3. So easy. All you need is a few small trinkets and a geocaching resource. I left a laminated card with a quarter code that leads to a Rickrolling. I grew up fucking hating geocaching. My brother and father love it, but if I trekked for miles and miles to find a quarter code leading to a Rickroll, I might, just maybe, change my opinion. Playing cards. If you play your cards right. As long as those aren't Magic, the Gathering cards. Cardboard crack. Meditation. Haha, one of the cheapest hobbies. But people manage to spend money on this too. Joining expensive courses, buying aesthetics like expensive candles, mats etc. Going on meditation retreats in high-end resorts in exotic locations. I can understand some well-scented candle or more comfortable mat. But why would anyone need some fancy wall ornaments or golden butter figurines? I thought closing your eyes is one of the most important parts. Reading. Having fun isn't hard when you got a library card. I did not expect to see an author reference on Reddit today. I thought of that, but I developed a habit of wanting to buy every book I read, so libraries give me anxiety. There's Project Gutenberg. Free ebooks which are public domain. https://www.gutenberg.org